Xbox has announced their big 2020 showcase and it's going to happen on June 12th. And you probably already can hear the excitement in my voice. This is something all Xbox fans have been waiting for: new game announcements, updates on already announced games and a lot of surprises. And in today's video we are going to discuss what we can expect from the event in terms of its setup, what games are most likely to appear there, and we will make educated guesses about the surprises at the event. So let's talk about the Xbox Showcase 2022. Hello gamers from around the world, this is Boxenberger, the video game enthusiast from Germany, with a video on some early predictions for the big Xbox event. And before we get started, I want to ask you for one quick favor. Should you end up enjoying yourself while watching this video, it would be awesome of you to consider to hit the like and subscribe button and maybe even turn on the notification bell to not miss out on future content. Okay, thank you guys, you are awesome. And now let's talk about the Xbox Showcase 2022. I mean, honestly, it wasn't really surprising that this event is eventually coming. We knew that Xbox planned to do a traditional E3 event, but with E3 gone this year, they do their own thing now. If I'm honest, it's surprising to me that they stick to the June date. With E3 gone, they could have easily moved that event to July or even August to have the hype closer to the actual game releases. But maybe that just tells you that they have stuff coming earlier than expected, but we'll get to that in a second. Since the Xbox 2021 showcase was generally considered to be one of the best Xbox has ever had, I think they will stick to the exact same format. They had a 90-minute show, only a few executives talking to the audience, and they had game trailer after game trailer. The real question here is whether they will have that second event that they had last year, which was hosted by Paris Lilly. The second showcase was more focused on in-depth presentations like extended gameplay and a closer look to some of the upcoming games. And it would only make sense to have that again, because let's take Starfield as an example. It probably takes at least 15 to 20 minutes to explain that game, to elaborate on the story, the universe, the gameplay mechanics and so on. And having a 20-minute Starfield presentation in a 90-minute showcase might hurt the pacing, and Xbox has a lot of other things to show, so we shall see if they will do the same approach like last year. Another big question will definitely be if Xbox is going to show gameplay for their games. Over the last years, Microsoft has announced an exciting roadmap of games, but all of these games have been announced with CGI trailers, and while this is absolutely okay for an initial announcement early in development, you can't do that twice with a game. So whatever games they will show, I do hope that they change that in their mindset and reveal gameplay for these games. But what are the games that are most likely to be shown? I'm gonna get to the obvious ones first, and the big one is definitely going to be Starfield. This game will come out on November 11th. Over the last months they have released a lot of shorter development stories about certain aspects like the art style, the music, etc, etc. And you haven't seen this kind of hype and advertisement for an Xbox game in a long time. Not even Halo Infinite has been advertised like this. Last year they have shown this in-engine trailer, and this year you can expect a full reveal of the game. They will talk about the story, they will show gameplay, they will talk about some of the mechanics, but I bet they will also leave some questions open to provide us with more news in the months till its release in November. Another game that is definitely going to be there is going to be Redfall from Arcane. This game has been announced last year with a CGI trailer, and we really don't know much about the game except that it's set on an island that is overrun by vampires. Rumors have it that this is gonna be a Borderlands type of game, but I think the gameplay reveal will tell us exactly what we can expect. The release window was given for summer 2022. Now of course they could do this surprise announcement in June that this game is coming out, let's say in July or August, which would still meet the summer release window, but I personally think this is gonna be pushed back to fall, and it's more likely to hit in September or October. And another safe bet for a game reveal is Forza Motorsport. This game has been announced in 2020 and is now in development for 5 years, which is 3 years longer than all the other previous Forza games. They've been working for this game on a complete new engine to make use of the current gen hardware and all of its features, and since the current gen consoles are already out 2 years this year, I think it's time to reveal this game, and I bet it will come out this holiday season. And it only makes sense for them to present Forza Motorsport because another big game is gonna use this engine, and that's Fable. Fable, yes, the RPG from Playground Games is using the same engine, and Fable can't be revealed before Forza because the first time this engine is going to be shown off is of course by the developer themselves, and that's Turn 10. But speaking of Fable, many, including myself, are anticipating a gameplay reveal for that game. This reboot of the franchise has been announced in 2020 with a CGI trailer, but it's way longer in development. The first rumors of that reboot were as early as January 2017, so Fable has been for at least 5 years in development, and while I think it's a 2023 title, I expect them to show something from Fable because after 5+ years in development, they probably have something that they can show off. Another game that is most likely to be revealed completely with gameplay is Contraband, which is developed by Avalanche. And during the CGI trailer reveal last year, they said that they have been working for more than 3 years together with Xbox on this game. So in 2022, that's a 4-year development time, and I think we will see this game in action, which is rumored to be a game focused around heists set in the 70s. Just a speculation from my side, I could even see this game as a surprise title for the end of this year, or maybe a spring 2023 game. Another game that is most likely to be revealed fully with gameplay is Avowed from Obsidian Entertainment. Just a few weeks ago, I had Jess Corden from Windows Central on my podcast, The World of Gaming, and we talked about Avowed because he has actually seen footage of that game, and he also said that he would be truly surprised if that game isn't going to show up at this year's event. Avowed was apparently the reason why Microsoft acquired Obsidian Entertainment in 2018 in the first place. So yes, that game was in 2018 already in development, and since it's been shown in 2020 with a CGI trailer, I would be surprised if they don't reveal that game completely. And it's one of my most anticipated Xbox first-party games because I love Skyrim, and this is Obsidian's take on it. So all these games that I mentioned so far are more or less safe bets, but what are some games that could also be shown? Well, we have heard a lot about the Compulsion game, and that different people, including Phil Spencer himself, are very excited for that game. Its project codename is Midnight, and it's apparently a dark fantasy single-player game. And since the last Compulsion game we have reviewed was released in 2016, the studio had 6 years to work on that game so far, and that makes it definitely a candidate for a reveal this year. And then we have In Exile. We know that they are working on a first-person AAA RPG, and since their last game was released in 2020, I think it's also a good possibility that they show up and present their new RPG. Or, and this is just a speculation right now, there are rumors out there that they are working on remasters or remakes for an Elder Scrolls game and a Fallout game. Who knows if that will show up? Now, a good question mark here is Machine Games. We know that they are working on an Indiana Jones game, but that game is very early in development. Rumors have it that this game's development didn't start properly until early 2021, and since their last game, Wolfenstein 2, was released in 2017, they had to work on something in those 4 years in between 17 and 21. And I would be surprised if they didn't work on a third Wolfenstein game to close off that trilogy. So let me know in the comments down below if you think this will be at the showcase. Another Bethesda studio that could make an appearance is id. Their last game, Doom Eternal, was released in 2020, and we know that they are working on a sequel, but it's all but confirmed that they are also working on a Quake reboot. The question is whether those games are ready to be shown or announced, but there's definitely a chance. Another game I want to mention here is State of Decay 3, because that game has made some headlines earlier this year, and State of Decay 2 is already 4 years old. And since they have announced this game with a CGI trailer in 2020, I could see them give us an update on State of Decay 3 and what the ambition is for that game. Another big question mark for the showcase is Perfect Dark. The studio, the initiative, were founded in 2018. So Perfect Dark is also around about 4 years in development, and we know that this game is now co-developed with Crystal Dynamics, who made the reboots of Tomb Raider. There's been headlines that a bunch of developers left the studio, but still the game is in full development, and since we have heard over a year ago that this game is already playable, I could see them show up, or maybe Xbox is saving Perfect Dark for a later reveal, let's say for instance at the Game Awards at the end of this year. Okay, what I don't think will be at the Xbox showcase is Hellblade 2, because we have seen a lot from that game already and they probably leave room for other games to be shown. I also don't think we will see the next game from the Coalition. Gear 6 is far out and their other game is probably not making it to this showcase. And the same goes for Outer Worlds 2, which is also early in development, and before they show Outer Worlds 2 I think they will reveal Avowed. Indiana Jones is also early in development and probably won't be there, as well as Everwild from Rare, because that game apparently got rebooted in its development. Be that as it may, Xbox has a ton of games that can and will appear from their first-party studios, but of course, there will also be third-party studios that will show their games at the event. A big third-party game coming to Game Pass day one is A Plague Tale Requiem. It's rumored to be a June release, which would be really cool if they come out on stage and say, this game is out now, available on Game Pass. And we do know that at the Tribeca Game Festival on June 11th, there will be a playable 40-minute demo of that game that apparently can also be experienced at home. So I expect at least the demo will be available right after the Xbox showcase. So earlier this year, Ubisoft and Xbox announced that they are partnering up to bring Ubisoft Plus to the Xbox ecosystem, and I bet that we will learn about the details of how Ubisoft Plus will work in the Xbox ecosystem. And along with that, I would be surprised if Ubisoft didn't show off at least one game, and their big one for this year is definitely the Avatar game. And of course, Xbox will talk a lot about other Game Pass titles and a few announcements of games coming to Game Pass, bigger and smaller titles coming day one, and the already leaked family plan for Game Pass is something that I expect to be presented there. There will also be of course a sizzle reel trailer for the ID at Xbox program, highlighting some of the great indie titles during this event. Now the big elephant in the room is if they will show something from Activision Blizzard. We all know that the acquisition won't be through by June, but maybe they will already show their close partnership at the event. That doesn't necessarily mean that they will talk about Call of Duty, because we know that the marketing rights with this year's Call of Duty still lies with Sony, but maybe they show off something from Blizzard like Overwatch 2 or Diablo 4. But honestly, I expect them to announce some Activision Blizzard games coming to Game Pass. It could be some of the older Call of Duty titles, it could be Diablo 3 or Overwatch 1. There are many possibilities, but since they have talked about their intention to bring Activision Blizzard games to Game Pass, I think this is a safe bet. But with that, I already want to wrap it up. As you can tell, my excitement is through the roof for this event. Xbox has been way too quiet in the first half of this year. We got the Activision Blizzard announcement in January, and then it got more or less silent. And since this silence is about to break, and since Xbox has already announced a ton of first-party games with CGI trailers, and a lot of these games have been in development for many years, I think that this is the year where they finally show gameplay for a bunch of these already announced games. They will go in depth, of course, with the big ones like Starfield, Redfall and Forza. They will announce a couple of great things coming to Game Pass, and they will of course highlight some of the Bethesda ZeniMax games. One thing is sure, cross-gen is over for Xbox. All their announced upcoming games are current-gen only games, so I expect to finally see what the current-gen hardware can actually do, and of course there will be some new game reveals like the aforementioned Machine Game, Compulsion and In Exile games. So definitely let me know in the comments down below which games you expect to be at the show and which games excite you the most. I've said this before, the roadmap for Xbox has never been more exciting than right now, and starting with this year's fall and holiday season, I don't think we will ever have that time where we just don't have any releases for the first 3 quarters of the year. Xbox has their pipeline filled with exciting games, and the Xbox Showcase is gonna show what Xbox fans will be playing this year and beyond. And as we head into May and June, we can expect a lot of game-related announcements, and you can bet that we will cover these games and their technology here on this channel. So if you enjoyed this video, do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button as well as the notification bell. And a big thank you goes out to all the channel members here. It really helps a lot and I'm truly grateful for the support. And besides here on YouTube, you can also hit me up on Twitter, where I share a lot of opinions and gaming discussions. But for now, thank you very much for watching. I see you the next time, and game on!